Stop deleting pictures where people are blinking or not looking at the camera and just simply use the scraps to combine the two pictures into one photo. So I'm going to use a lasso selection tool in Photoshop Beta and copy a selection onto a different picture where I want to build the two images together, and I'm going to reduce the opacity so I can match up the face. And then I'm going to bring the opacity back to normal after I rotate it and position it. And once the opacity is back to normal, then I'm going to go down and create a layer mask, which is going to allow me to erase away from the selection just to refine it a little bit. So I selected the brush tool, and as you can see, I've erased away from the face completely, and I've selected white paint over black paint, and I'm painting the face layer back in. So I basically erased away from the selection and then painted back in just the area of the face. And that's a before and after. And before we move on, here's just another quick example without going into the process, just showing how that's done. But here I will show the process of this one because I really love how this one came out. It's all my nieces and nephew together. But this picture, I needed to copy and paste a different picture of this baby into the picture. So what I'm going to do is remove her from this picture and then add her back in from a different picture, if that makes sense. So with generative fill in Photoshop Beta, I was able to select her and remove her. And now that she's removed, there's space to put her back in. And I'm just going to copy and paste her from a different picture, create my layer mask, which is going to allow me to clean up the excess part of the picture that we want to remove. And that is me clicking the layer on and off so you can see what it looks like, and no one would ever be able to know. It's amazing. I've been doing this for like 10 years, copying and pasting people's faces into each other. It never gets old. But here is some basic editing in Lightroom that I'm going to show you. So if you're new to Lightroom, pay attention because this might really help. This is my method. The first thing I'm always going to do to my raw images is reduce the blacks and the shadows and maybe the contrast, add some highlights if needed, which is almost always needed. And I'm always going to add curves because curves adds a cool retro vibe to the pictures and just adds like very good tones overall to the picture. The curve layer does affect the RGB channels of the layer, the red, the green, the blue. So typically I'll have several dots on each line. And after adjusting the hue and the saturation a little bit, this is the before and after of just basic editing and basic color toning in Lightroom. And what I'm going to do is sync up the changes I just made to that single photo and highlight all the photos at the bottom that I would like to apply those same exact changes to by hitting synchronize at the bottom of Lightroom after all the pictures are highlighted. And now I'm going to show you some awesome presets from Cvatik. I can't pronounce his name, never will be able to, but I generally use the Crimson preset from the 2018 Preset Pack 1 Cvatik presets. And it works amazing. It's usually the preset I do use, even though I tend to stay away from presets these days, but you're always going to reduce the blacks, the shadows, add vibrance. Always reduce the saturation of the blue if you do use a specific preset, because for some reason the blue is really augmented in the colors. So just as you can see, reduce the blue. And then if you zoom in, you can see the grain. So if you like, that comes with the preset, and I do like it, that's what it looks like without the grain, because you can remove the grain from the preset in Lightroom. But I tend to go with the medium grain because I do like a little grain. This is the same exact image, but without the preset. Just my same basic Lightroom editing that I showed you near the beginning of this tutorial. And I'm just going to show you a breakdown a little bit quickly how I do my curves layer. So you can see I'm applying the dots on the line, and that's going to control the lighting, contrast, tones, and colors of the image. And now I've gone from the red to the green to the blue channel, and this is what it looks like, just the curves layer on and off. And I'm going to apply the same changes just by hitting previous. If you go to the next photo, hit previous. If you highlight a bunch of photos, hit sync to apply all the same changes. And here's just another quick example of using the features in Lightroom. So I'm using a linear gradient at the top. You saw that I use a linear gradient to make the exposure a little bit brighter. And here I'm just adding my nephew from a different picture into the picture that I want all three of them looking at me. And this is the final result. They're all three looking at me, but you would never know they're from three different pictures. And once it's all done and edited, composited together, I'm making even more additional Lightroom changes. The gradients are found where my mouse was just circling in that little area, so I use a linear gradient a bunch. It is probably one of the most, if not the most important feature in Lightroom when editing your pictures. And what it does is allow you to edit just certain specific parts of the photo without affecting the rest of the photo. So as you can kind of see, I'm just exposing and brightening up certain areas of the picture, and the rest of the photo was not affected. And then as you can see, I rotated the picture because I'm very big on having photos be very straight and having them just perfectly straight. And now I'm going to use this new AI feature in Lightroom to remove the person in the background. Bye, Mom. So I highlighted her with the erase thingy, the erase icon on Lightroom. You can see the mouse is right next to it. And I just showed the before and after of erasing her. So those are just some basic techniques in Photoshop, Beta, and Lightroom that I wish I knew from the beginning, but I'm teaching beginners now. If this video was some help to you in some way, I would love a like, comment, subscribe would really help me out a lot. So thank you for watching this video. I hope I was able to help you. Have a very productive week, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.